Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with yet another rebuild on a Sunday, and I am being super duper lazy because I am leaving every transfer in this rebuild up to my assistant manager, or the director of football, I actually think it is. In this particular instance, we are heading over to Germany to take on RB Leipzig. Now, the reason I selected Leipzig, if we jump into game, you can see on their club vision here, they have some interesting stuff that I would like to see what the director of football actually adheres to. They have the board culture, obviously play high tempo pressing football, we can do that. Play attacking football, again, we can do that, that's not a problem. But they have do not sign players over the age of 28, and they have the stipulation of sign players under the age of 21 for the first team. So this is actually quite an interesting proposition, leaving things over to my director of football. If you didn't know how to do this, guys, you just go into your staff responsibilities here, go onto your staff page, onto the responsibilities, transfers and contracts, and as you can see, find and sign players for the first team. I have left all of this up to Felix Kruger. And here is Mr. Kruger. He is going to hopefully come along with some of the players that we're going to want to sign and actually be really good for us. That's what the hope is. I've disabled the transfers for the first window, so his first instance will be in the January. Obviously that will go on season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5. You know how we do these rebuilds, guys. But the tactic we are going to be running for today, obviously it was released just last week. This is the Kante be beaten. It is a 5-2-3. Now I will say this video was played through, or the contents of this video was played through before the winter update. We haven't actually tested every single tactic on the new winter update yet, so obviously comments section, I understand you're interested about the winter update. We will get some stuff out to you ASAP in terms of your tactics for the winter update. But this is Kante be beaten. You can kind of see how it's going to get on here with us. Obviously a few key players in the team in my opinion. Obviously Josko Gvardiol, he's massive. Big fan of him. Danny Olmo, who I actually think is part of Fraud FC, Christopher Nkunku, and Timo Werner. Believe it or not, Timo Werner is going to be a key man in this particular team. Obviously, on the bench, we've got the likes of Kevin Campbell, Andre Silva. We got Dominic Szoboszlai as well. And we got the players like, where is the person that I'm thinking of? Alex Mariba, he's out on loan at Valencia in the first season. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. So if we head on over to the competitions tab, we have, obviously they are in the Champions League, they are in the Bundesliga, they do have the DFB Pokal, and in the first instance, they have the DFL Super Cup. So this is going to be interesting, and I wanted it to be a team that is good enough to kind of play in some of these competitions, but also leave it over to the director of football to sign all the players, because I think I could turn RB Leipzig into an absolute powerhouse in like a season or two, but I'm leaving it over to the assistant manager. The money's good in Germany, so we're going to have to see. In terms of the Bundesliga, this is how we rank ourselves. And I need someone to clarify this for me because I think I'm going mad. On the winter update, is this new? So that you can sort things by the XG table on the competitions tab. If this is new, I like it. If it's not new, I'm blind. So I need you guys in the comment section to let me know down below. But if we have a look at the season preview, you can take a look. RB Leipzig are predicted to come in third in the division, which isn't too bad. Obviously Bayern are quite heavy favourites. So what we're going to do, guys, we are going to simulate this first season and see what happens with RB Leipzig, and also see if our director of football signs anybody in January. So season 1 is done and dusted, and we've actually done pretty darn well. We've finished second in the Bundesliga, obviously behind Bayern Munich, but we are above Dortmund, which I'm actually really happy with. In the Champions League, knocked out in the round of 16 by Tottenham. What do we think of Tottenham? But we did win the DFB Pokal, which is actually really nice to see. In that final of the DFB Pokal, we beat Bayern Leverkusen 2-1. Timo Werner actually scoring a brace there, which is really nice to see. Obviously, a big fan of Timo Werner, actually. I felt like he had a rough run of the green in Chelsea. But ultimately, we're quite a way behind Bayern, to be perfectly honest. 13 points behind Bayern Munich. But in terms of season 1, I'm actually quite happy about it. I don't actually remember any of the players. Look at all these transfers going on. Blimmin' heck. Has he made any other signings in January? No, he didn't make any January signings, so that's very interesting to see. But it looks like if we go into the transfer centre, we do have several players coming in. Obviously, Benjamin Sesko is coming in. Martin van der Voort also coming in, but he's coming in a year's time. So Benjamin Sesko is going to be coming in. In terms of the finances, we've got 56 million for him to spend, which is really, really nice, and about 400k in the wage budget as well. This is why I like Germany, guys. The finances in Germany and in the Bundesliga in general are incredible. Out of our squad, let's skip this. Is there anyone who is wanted? Obviously, Tom Kraus going out on his transfer all the way to Hertha Berlin? Schalke. Oops, wrong team that play in blue. But we've got lots of players that are wanted. Christopher Nkunku, wanted by Chelsea and Manchester United. That could be a problem. That could be a problem. But it's not my problem. It's over to the director of football. Let's get through the summer and I'll come back for a transfer update for season number 2. Okay, guys, before we get into the transfer update for season number 2, I will implore you to say if you are enjoying the content, if you are enjoying the rebuilds, please do drop a like on today's video, guys. That is a real indication for me that you are enjoying it. And I'm actually going to set you a like target. I rarely do this, but I want to see if you guys can hit 150 likes on the video down below. And if you are new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button for this director of football, leaving it up to him. It's all about his transfers. And let's speak about those transfers right now, because he's signed no one. He hasn't signed anyone. Obviously, the Benjamin Sesko transfer is pre-arranged, but we have lost some players, which is quite interesting. Lucas Klosterman is one. He has gone over to Dortmund, and Chelsea have followed through and purchased Christopher Nkunku. So he has obviously gone over to Chelsea. I'm not actually sure if this is a pre-arranged transfer or not. Obviously, this is pre-winter update. This save was done, remember? So, interesting that he's gone there for £56 million. Obviously, there's been some other transfers going on, but only Benjamin Sesko is our only incoming thus far, which is very interesting to see. So, obviously, in this team, we've got a few gaps now with some of the players that we've let go. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, according to my assistant manager, this is how the team is looking. So we still got Orban, Halstenberg and Gavadio in those defensive positions. Simikan is there on one wing. Angelino is there on the other. Dominik Szoboszlai is next to Schlager. Olmo, Werner, Andre Silva. It's quite a good team still. Obviously, we still have that depth of Benjamin Sesko. Obviously, I did touch on Alex Mariba. Big player for me. I love Alex Mariba in Football Manager. But ultimately, I think we're relatively decent. I think we do need another centre-back, actually, looking at this. Yeah, I think we need another centre-back looking at this particular instance here. But it'll be interesting to see what we do with this team, obviously leaving that one over to the assistant manager as well. It's kind of like I'm just sat here just hitting the space bar. If we go into the competitions tab, you can kind of see where we are again. Again, we're back in the Champions League. DFB Pokal, obviously, we'll be looking to retain that one. DFL Super Cup as German Cup winners against Bayern. No surprises there. And obviously, we do have that Bundesliga again. Now, we were third favourites last season, and we're third favourites again this season. The team is effectively, the media Dream 11, is all Bayern Munich and Jude Bellingham. So we're 15-1 to win the division. So we're going to have to give it a good go. The Bundesliga is, though, above the Serie A now in terms of the competition reputation, which is very, very interesting. We're going to simulate Season 2, guys, and I'll be back in just a second. Guys, heading on over to that competitions tab yet again for season number 2, and we finished second again, but annoyingly we are just a little bit further away from Bayern Munich than we were last season. Last season it was 13 points, this year 14 points. But we've actually seen a little bit of progression. We've gone around further in the Champions League. We got to the quarter-final stage where we were ultimately knocked out by Manchester United. The final hasn't been played yet, but this menu here in the stages looks so clean now. So we got to the quarter-finals there, guys, and we were knocked out by Manchester United 3-2, despite winning at home. We obviously lost 3-0 at Old Trafford, which is rather disappointing, but we get knocked out in the quarter-final stage. Good money coming back into the club, though. Knocked out in the quarter-finals of the German Cup. So no cup defense here. We were knocked out by Hoffenheim in that one, and then runners up in the DFL Super Cup, which obviously 3-0 to Bayern Munich. Probably a sign of things to come for the remainder of the season. But we do finish in second. We are the second best team in Germany. Whilst we've lost a little bit of ground on Bayern, we've gained a little bit of ground on Dortmund as well. So we've kind of really separated ourselves as the second best team in the country, which is quite nice. Benjamin Sesko. Lots of people like talking about Benjamin Sesko. Obviously a wonder kid of years gone by. Last game cycle, he was electric. Pretty good this season if you do give him the game time. 30 21 starts, 10 substitute appearances, 28 goals, 3 assists. Pretty good for a youngster. He's still 21, 6'5", is a bit of a monster as our Benjamin Sesko, but he is in there and was our top goal scorer in all competitions, I believe. Yes, he was. Dani Olmo with the most assists with 20 as well, so that's pretty good for him. Dani Olmo, another good player that I do like. Just out of curiosity, did we make any more transfers? We did. We got quite busy in the end. So we brought in our director of football, brought in Marling Sarr, Christoph Ayer is a really good signing actually from Brentford, Chris Richards and Darko Chulinov from Burnley. So he's brought in some players. He did all those in the summer window. Then he's brought in Marius Wolf, Thomas Meunier, Jan Thielmann, Tete, Samuel Lino and Arter. And that is because, guys, I did notice we've sold some more players. We've made Bayern better. We've sold Timo Werner over to Bayern Munich, 66 million with the potential of rising up to 83. That happened in the January, and since he actually joined Bayern, he got 8 in 12, which is really, really impressive. Good turn of money from Leipzig again, though, to be fair. Buying him for 19.25 from Chelsea after making money off of him. It's just a really good way of doing business, isn't it? But Timo Werner is now annoyingly a Bayern Munich player. Hadara has also gone as well. He's gone over to Brentford. It's kind of a little bit of a swap with some of the players that we've done. But ultimately, I think the team's looking all right. Going into season number 3, though, we have cash. Obviously, we've got that money from Timo Werner, plus a little bit of a transfer budget of our own. We've almost got 100 million to spend. 100 million in the hands of a director of football. I'm just hoping for the best. Let's get to season 3. So before we start season number 3, we had 100 million to spend. And our director of football has spent none of it. Nothing. Martin van der Voort has joined. Obviously, that was, again, a pre-arranged transfer. We are on the 4th of August, so we are quite early into the season, into the summer window, but we're about to start the German season campaign. Obviously, we are in that Super Cup again, and we've signed absolutely nobody. We've got 98.8 million. I don't know what he's playing at. I assume he's waiting for all of his business to happen on deadline day. If we go back into the 4 competitions, yet again, we're in the same 4 competitions. So again, I'm not overly worried about it. I kind of want a better showing in the DFL Super Cup though. And if we talk about the Bundesliga and we take a look at the season preview, we're 11-1 now. So they think we've got better as a team. And we've actually seen that the odds of Bayern winning the title have dropped. But the Media Dream 11, again, is all Bayern bloody Munich. And they bought Timo Werner, so made us worse in the process. I really hope when we check back in at the end of season 3, not only have we maybe won a bit of silverware, maybe our director of football has spent some of that cash. So before we dive into the results for season number 3, I do have to talk about some of the transfers that have been made by this director of football. We had 100 million to spend. He spent 62 million. But we've had 3 goalkeepers come in this season, which is absolutely ludicrous. Obviously, Martin van der Voort was the pre-arranged transfers already happening in real life. But he's gone out and signed Georgi Mamadashvili from Valencia. Okay, a good goalkeeper who is now wanted by Manchester City. Good. But he's also signed Lucas Hrdlicka, which I don't understand. Obviously, the former Bayern Leverkusen goalkeeper. He's 35 years of age. Why have we signed him? He's got 10 positioning. What is he doing here? He spent £1 million on him. We've also gone over and raided Tottenham's wingbacks, which is absolutely ludicrous. We've gone and brought Ryan Sessegnon. He comes in for £30.5 million. It feels like we got fleeced there. And Jed Spence has actually come in, which I'm intrigued to see how he gets on, because looking at his attributes here, he looks pony. And I've also just seen he's been given the number 9. Oh my gosh. Like, what are we doing? On the other side of the column, we sold our goalkeeper. He's gone. Benjamin Hendricks has gone to Bayern Leverkusen, and Angelino has gone over to Newcastle United. I don't know what our director of football's doing. What are you doing, Felix? What are you doing? I just don't understand. In terms of the competition, so for season number 3, annoyingly, we got a bit closer to Bayern, but we finished in 3rd. Bayern win the league with 76 points. They continue to win the league. They are also in the Champions League final as well. They're about to take on PSG. But yeah, we finish in 3rd on 67 points, which is, of course, our worst run that we have had. The season before we had 71, then we had 69, giggity. So it looks like we were getting a little bit better, and then we had a bit of a tank season, didn't finish very well, finished behind Dortmund. Even though it was much closer between ourselves and Bayern this year, still rather disappointing for us there. Knocked out in the third round of the Pokal by Darmstadt, which is really disappointing to see. And then in terms of the DFL Super Cup, I thought things were going to go really well. We lost, but we lost 3-2 in this final, including a penalty as well, against a pretty stacked Bayern side. We put up a good fight. Yes, okay, we scored 2 of our 3 shots on target. Yes, okay, they were in charge of the game, but we still managed to get some goals. But ultimately, Bayern win the league again. It is the Bundesliga, of course, isn't it? I can't remember where we actually got knocked out in the Champions League, so I will have a look. Round of 16 here, it says, where we got knocked out by Arsenal. So that is rather disappointing. We've not really had a fantastic showing of ourselves in the league. Going into this next season, again, we've basically got 99 million for our director of football to spend. The overall balance in the club is super healthy. I really need him to start spending some cash here. So transfer update going into season number 4, and we've actually recouped more money than we've spent, and we've spent half of our budget. It is sickening. I'm really disappointed with some of the effort that has gone into this from our director of football. In terms of the outgoings, Tete has gone to Tottenham. There he is. He now plays for Tottenham. Obviously, I think we've turned a good profit on Tete if we go and have a look at his history, though. Oh no, we've made a loss. £30.5 million we bought him for, sold him for 21 to Tottenham. That's not good business, RB Leipzig. Marling Sarr, though, he has gone to Atalanta. Is there good business on him? There is good business on him. We signed him for free for Chelsea, sold him for 20 million. That is good business. Andre Silva, also gone. Emil Forsberg, gone. Sorloth, gone. All these players leaving the club. This is one of the players that we brought in, Julian Ponceau. He comes in from Lorient. Malik Tile, he comes in, obviously German youth international. Yeah, hasn't made a full cap yet, but a young German centre-back. Pretty good commodity for the Bundesliga. Robin Gosens comes back to the Bundesliga. Very happy to have Gosens here, obviously German international. Only 13 caps in this particular instance, but a wing-back that I do really, really like. And then Paul Jackal is another player who's come in from Union Berlin. Looks like a good little player, 6'2", good high jumping reach, exactly what we want. In terms of the team, though, with some of these player departures, this is how we are looking for season number 4. The team looking pretty darn strong. Mamadashvili, Simakan, Aya, Richards, Gvardiol, Sessignon, Elax Mariba alongside Schlager, Olmo, Sabozlai, and Benjamin Sesko. The average age, if I arrange these guys by starting 11, Christoph Ayer at 27 is amongst one of the oldest in our starting 11. Javier Schlager, also 27. Danny Olmo, 27. The rest of this squad, though, guys, super duper young. So I think ultimately you can kind of see that the director of football is doing as he has been asked. So in terms of things, though, we only have the 3 competitions this year. No German Super Cup, just the Pokal, the Champions League, and that Bundesliga title. With some of the money that we've spent, guys, we are now 10-1 to win the title. Is that Kingsley Coman at Dortmund? It's very rare you see players go that way. Mokoko's broken his way into the Media Dream 11, as has our man Josko Gvardiol. Now, this man is an absolute monster. I implore you to sign him in any one of your saves if you possibly can, because he is a beast, either at a left back or where I would like to play him as a centre back. He is electric. 17 pace, physicals out the wazoo. He's 6'1", mentally absolutely fantastic as well. I just wish his positioning was just a touch better, but defensively, again, absolute monster. Very good price paid to Dinamo Zagreb for his services. But Bayern are definitely the team to beat this year. If we simulate season 4, let's see if we can close that gap and maybe, just maybe, beat Bayern Munich. So season 4 is done and we have our best points return, but Bayern again continue to score an abundance of points. They only lost one game this season. They lost once to Cologne. They had 8 draws, but they absolutely mopped the floor with the rest of the division. We finish in second again. We qualify for the Champions League, obviously because of the coefficient and more places being available. The top 5 after season number 4 qualify for the Champions League in the Bundesliga, but we are there. We are finishing second, this time 9 points behind them. Obviously this is our not the smallest gap, but the smaller gap when they absolutely dominate the division. If we take a look at the Champions League, we were knocked out in the quarterfinals. You can tell Bayern are good. They're winning the Champions League. Oh, they've signed Yusufa Moukoko, 81 million. They won the Champions League as well. We were knocked out in the quarterfinals. 7 goals to 3 by Liverpool, which is rather disappointing, but 7 goals to 3, you know, Luis Diaz, Mo Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold. They've signed Bellingham in this particular instance, so Liverpool fans, you can be happy with that. And Karim Adeyemi, it looks like you've basically just gone shopping at Dortmund. So fair play, knocked out in the Champions League there at the quarterfinal stage, knocked out in the quarterfinals of the DFB Pokal as well. Okay. Let's have a look at some of the additional transfers. We've sold more players, man. Dani Olmo this time goes over to Newcastle for 67 million quid. He's not been great, you know. He's got a lot of assists, but he's not been hugely fantastic, and he goes over to England for £67 million. In terms of some of the players we have bought, though, I'm very intrigued by some of these that we have brought in. Wuyong Yang, I butchered that name, and I'm so sorry that I have done. Freiburg player, winger, both sides, good. Like the look of him. He looks like a good signing that we've done. Alvaro Fernandez, goalkeeper, backup, I would assume. Again, decent enough backup. Emil Smith-Rowe comes in from Arsenal for £39 million. I really like this signing. I really think Smith-Rowe could be good for this sort of setup. 25 years of age. Fantastic teeth on the boy as well, on Smith-Rowe. But we've also signed William Saliba from Arsenal as well. It's like we've gone shopping at Arsenal. It's crazy. Jump and reach really good. Really, really good heading. Jose Manuel Lopez, another striker, not necessarily the best one. And Lucas Nemecha comes in. He is a monster, this guy, I will say. We obviously signed him in January for 19.75 million. 7 goals in 11 appearances. Yes, please. We've got a really good team now. I feel like our director of football has been really on it now. Mamadishvili's gone as well. I've just noticed that. He's again gone to Bayern Munich. Friggin' hell. So in terms of everything, though, guys, I think we're really ready to go. Benjamin Sesko is our top goal scorer in the season again. 32 goals for Sesko. Again, not really growing to the heights that we have seen in FM22, but still a very good striker in this year's game if you give him game time. Into season number 5 then, our 5th and final season. We've got 104 million to spend, guys. We've got 104 million. This is why I find managing in the Bundesliga so much fun. The amount of players you can attract to the club are huge, and I'm really, really excited about season number 5. Let's get going. Let's get through the summer and get into it. Okay, guys, before we get into the 5th and final season, this is the point in the video where I ask you guys, if you are still watching this video, I ask you to comment something down below to let me know that you've got all the way to the 5th and final season. And this one, pretty self-explanatory. I just want you to comment down below, Red Bull. That's all I want to see, Red Bull down below, just to let me know that you guys got all the way to season number 5. And in terms of the transfers, guys, we've been out and we've actually spent some cash. Elia Caprelli comes in. It's like I'm in charge. I sign this guy all the time. He's here in my Lazio save that I'm doing online with Murph FM on twitch.tv/HoodGamingUK. If you do want to come and check that network game out with Mr. Murph FM, he's a really good goalkeeper. I've got him there. And we've also signed Baranbi. He's really good as well. He's usually at Parma, former Man City and Barcelona youth prospect. In this instance, he's gone from Parma to Fulham, and we've paid 27 million quid for him. It looks like our director of football, which is it still? It is still Mr. Felix Kruger. He is still trying to get some transfers over the line. Looking at some of the transfers in, he's not. It looks like he's trying to get rid of players. Simikan is a player who he's had interest from Inter Milan, but he's still got loads of money, so I'm still expecting some movement on deadline day, to be honest. 75, almost 76 million here. So the team's looking pretty good. Let's have a look at the team going into this season, because I felt like the additions that he made in January last year were really, really good. So Alvaro Fernandez goes in net now. Aya, Saliba and Gvardiol. That is a fantastic defensive line. Really happy with those. Simakan, I'm happy with. Sessegnon, meh, wouldn't be the player that I would have signed. Schlager, Elix Mariba, Young, Szoboszlai, Sesko. Obviously on the bench now we've got like the likes of Smith Rowe and Nemecha, Thielman. Orban is still here. Obviously, we've got a really deep squad now. I'm really, really happy with how things have been going with this team. In terms of the competitions, we're back in these same 3 competitions that we were in last season. If we go into the Bundesliga and have a look at that season preview, we are now the 2nd favourite team. We are predicted to finish in 2nd, 11-1 are our odds. Gvardiol and Mariba now into this media dream 11, which is really, really nice to see. But the rest of it is still Bayern Munich, and that Musiala and Moukoko link up I think is just going to rip the league to shreds. But we will try to end this dominance of Bayern Munich. It'd be nice to see someone else here. We've really tried, finishing as runners up on 3 separate occasions in this particular simulation so far. So let's get through the 5th and final season and see if this is the year. Can this be the year? So going into the competitions tab for the 5th and final season, we did it. We finally overcame the hurdle of Bayern Munich and we win the Bundesliga title. In terms of the other competitions though, ultimately relatively disappointing. We get through the league campaign in the Champions League and we're knocked out in the round of 16 by Juve. So we get into that and we lose 3 goals to 1 on aggregate, losing our home game 2-0. Weston McKennie and Amin Guri with the goals for Juve in this particular instance, and we're knocked out in the 2nd round of the Pokal by Borussia Mönchengladbach, which is again rather disappointing. But let's talk Bundesliga, because we won the Bundesliga, which is really, really nice to see. I'm really happy with how we've got on. In terms of the stages, I've expanded the table for you. 25 victories for us this season, 6 draws, 3 defeats. We scored 76, so we weren't the highest goal scoring team in the division. That was Bayern, no real surprises there. We conceded 34. We weren't the best defensive team in the league. That was either Dortmund, looking at it, or Wolfsburg, who only conceded 30 apiece. So fair play to them. But we do get the most points, which is really, really nice to see. The 3 games that we lost, Gladbach, Bayern, Cologne, that's the kind of problems that we've been having. But the team is really, really good. If we go and take a look at the transfer history and some of the other players that we did sign, Kelvin has come in from Tottenham. Again, he looks like a very well-rounded fullback if you've not seen him in this year's game. Quinton Timber comes in from Southampton, obviously former Feyenoord prospect. Not as well developed as I would have liked to have seen from him. Marmol has come in from Lyon in this particular instance. No Spanish caps for him. Sam Curtis comes in, a player that I've never heard of despite playing for Crystal Palace. And Jadsum, again, another player that comes in, but again, we've sold some more personnel, guys. Let's have a look. Benjamin Sesko, Dominik Szoboszlai, William Saliba, Tellman, they've all gone. Benjamin Sesko to Newcastle. It's like we're a feeder club to Newcastle at this point. They've signed Benjamin Sesko, so this team has been gutted a little bit. 65 million he went for. Dominik Szoboszlai over to Tottenham for 45 million pounds. Not the first player to go here. Again, another good profit. We're turning good profit, but that's the disappointing thing. Saliba going to Bayern Munich. We only made 3 million on him, but a good player nonetheless. Disappointing to see him go to Bayern Munich. Jan Tillman, again, another good prospect, another good player. Annoyingly making a little bit of a loss on him. So in terms of the squad and stuff, if you were to take over this team, which I will post the link in my Discord, this is the team that you would be kind of having here. It looks like you need a left wing back, it looks like you need a goalkeeper, and it looks like you might need a winger. But the rest of this team is really, really solid. If we go onto the home screen, Lucas Nemecha was the top goal scorer for the club. Emil Smith Rowe with the most assists. But that was our Director of Football challenge with RB Leipzig. If you do want to play this save, I will leave it down in my Discord channel. You will find links to that down in the description. If you do like the rebuild content, guys, check out this playlist that's popping up right here, right now, which is all the rebuilds that we've done in FM23.